Hey everyone, Gretchen Wegner here, the creator of the Anti-Boring Approach to Powerful Studying. And it's final exam time when I'm recording this video, and it's also AP studying time. And so just moments ago, I was in a session with a client, and he told me that he's planning on taking the day off of school tomorrow because his AP World History exam is 2 days from now, and he just wants to spend tomorrow doing some last minute studying. And the question he asked me specifically was, where should I study? And I thought it was so interesting that he asked that question, because it's been a long time since a client has actually asked me the where question. Often we're talking about the how of studying. And so I reminded him of the study that I read. This is a quote from the New York Times from 2010. And so I read this a long time ago, and it really has informed my beliefs about where a student should study. But here's the quote first. Let's look at it. The more mental sweat it takes to dig info out of our heads, the more securely it will subsequently be anchored in our heads. So those of you who have been following me for a while know that when we talk about digging information out of our heads, that's what's called retrieval practice. Another good word for that is that we're quizzing ourselves or testing ourselves. So the more effort we can put into that, the more securely the neural pathways are going to be, I use the word burned. It's not really the nicest verb, but I'll say it anyway, burned into our brain so that we can access it again during the test. But what does that have to do with the question of where should I study? Well, this New York Times article says, and other studies that I've read also says, that when we study in different places, it actually creates a little bit more effort to try and retrieve the information. And based on this quote, we know that effort, as long as it's not too much effort, is good. So if you're used to studying vocabulary words, let's say, on this couch in this environment, then it's going to, as you keep on studying the vocabulary words, it's going to feel like you know the answers to those questions. You can define the vocabulary words more easily. But if you go outside, say, and walk along the block, or go sit at a cafe for a while and use the same flashcards over again to quiz yourself, it's going to be just a little bit harder because your brain got used to doing it in this setting, but it's not used to doing it out in the world. So this client and I decided that he's also going to study with a friend, and so his friend's going to come over to his house, first of all, and they'll do a couple hours there, and then they'll transition to a cafe and do another couple of hours at the cafe. And then after that, they'll see how they're feeling about whether they want to study anymore. So I think that's a great plan. It's also a good plan because moving your body helps refresh your brain. And so that little break that they're going to take to transition to the cafe will also kind of help refresh their brain so they're ready for another 2-hour study session. I hope that is a helpful tip for you all in answer to the question, where should I study? And if you want more questions or answers to the question, how should I study? I encourage you to check out my online course, The Anti-Boring Approach to Powerful Studying, which you can find at gretchenwegner.com. Take care, y'all. Bye-bye.